Hi, my friends, and welcome to Storytime for the week of November 8th, 2020. How are you this week? It was a very nice and warm weekend, wasn't it? We don't get those very often in November like we do in earlier months, so I really enjoyed the sunshine. Did you go outside and play? Did you jump in leaves? Did you have a wonderful time? Well, we are going to talk about an animal today. We're going to read a book about it, sing a couple songs, and make a craft. It lives in the trees. It has feathers. It's nocturnal. You find them sometimes in barns. It likes to say, hoot, hoot. Did you say an owl? You're right. It's an owl. So, we are going to start off with a song called Just Like an Owl. All right? Flap your wings. I don't know how owls flap their wings, but we'll go like this. Turn the camera a little. Flap your wings and fly around, fly around, fly around. Flap your wings and fly around, just like an owl. Big eyes, right? Open your eyes, big and wide, big and wide, big and wide. Open your eyes, big and wide, just like an owl. And then they land on the ground and hop. Ready to soar? Land on the ground and hop around, hop around, hop around. Land on the ground and hop around, just like an owl. Very good. Guess what else they do? You can sing this verse at home. They turn their heads and hoop, hoop. Yeah. Turn their heads. They can turn their heads all the way around. They're really amazing creatures. All right, are you ready for our story today? That's part of our craft. We'll get to that in a minute. Good night, owl. Good Night Owl by Greg Pizzoli. Here we go. Owl's trying to go to sleep. Can you see the pictures? All right. Owl was settling into bed when he heard a noise. Scary. It's nighttime. It was a tiny sound, no louder than a whisper, a funny noise he hadn't heard before. Someone must be at the door, Owl said. Just a minute. Check the door. But no one was there. Probably the wind, said Owl. As he lay down in bed, he said to himself, Good night, Owl. Squeak! Then he heard the noise again. Oh, what is that? What just said, squeak? It's coming from the cupboard, said Owl. So he went to take a look at the cupboard. Hiding behind the cupboard. He emptied every shelf, but there was no noise to be found. He's making a mess, isn't he? So Owl went back to bed. Good night, Owl, he said. I wonder if he's going to make a noise. And then he heard the noise. Squeak! It must be under the floor, said Owl. And he pulled up the floorboards one by one. But he didn't find the noise. So Owl went back to bed. Squeak! This house has a noisy roof, yelled Owl. He's getting very annoyed. He took down the roof. Pulled it right off the house. There, said Owl, no more noise. Owl got back into bed. the stars and the moon shining down where his roof used to be. So it's a nice, beautiful sky. It's kind of nice. Good night, Owl, he said. But Owl didn't close his eyes. He didn't dare. He knew that any second he would hear the noise. He waited and waited and waited and waited. Squeak! It's in the walls! Yelled Owl. "I'll get you, noise," Owl said, as he tore down the walls of his house. And he found nothing. The cupboard was empty, the floorboards were pulled up, the roof was pulled down, and the walls were gone. Owl went back to bed, and he said, "Good night, Owl." And then he saw the noise. Squeak! Owl smiled. He said, "Good night, noise." And they went to sleep. We know that this is fiction, right, boys and girls? Do you know why we know that this is fiction? Well, first, owls don't live in houses or use hammers and saws, of course, but also owls eat mice. So I'm pretty sure Owl would know what that squeak was, don't you think, if he heard it? All right, we have another song today. Do you know the song Jingle Bells? Are you getting in the Christmas spirit? I have a song called Little Owl. Little owl, high up in the tree. Little owl, blinks his eyes at me. Hooting loud, hooting soft, hooting all night long. I just love that little owl and love his hooting song. Do you want to sing that one more time? Are you ready? Little owl, high up in the tree. Little owl, blinks his eyes at me. Hooting loud, hooting soft, hooting all night long. I just love that little owl and its hooting song. Very good. Are you ready to make our craft? I'm going to show you what it is today. All right, this is going to take a little bit of time, but I'll show you what it is, and then I'll tell you what materials you might need, okay? It's an owl with hand wings. A little keepsake for your parents, if you will. All right, so here's what I have. I have a scrap piece of paper that I can make a form on to trace. I have a little scrap of black for his beak and feet and pupils. I have white for his eyes. I have some yellow for his eyes. And then I have brown for his body and wings. You can use any colors you want, but those are what I have. I also have a Sharpie and my scissors, a pencil, and glue stick. And then I have this bucket, which I will show you what I'm going to do with that in just a minute. But we're going to trace it, okay? And actually, we're going to start with that. We're going to make our form. Let me tilt this down for you so you can watch me work. Oh, sorry, that's so bumpy. I'm going to fold my form in half. All right? And it's smaller on this side than that side, but we are going to trace both. Just half of it, though. Can you see that I am putting, actually, I'm going to do this side first. Half my bowl, my container, onto my paper. Just half. All right, there's half. And I'm going to put this half over top of it. Try to make it as centered as you can. Maybe you'll have a bowl that's a little bit easier than mine to see through. That's looking pretty good in there. All right. Okay, so you can see I have 2 semicircles, an inside and an outside. All right, now the other thing that I'm going to do is create the ears on the outside of this. So I'm just going to draw what I think an owl ear might look like. Parents, you can help your toddlers at home if you'd like, or just let them do their thing. Actually, I think I'm going to make this one a little bit different than my other one. Yes, I am, because it's art and it's perfect and it's mine, and I get to do that. All right, now that we have our form, we're going to cut, okay? First, we are going to cut the outside circle with the ear. You'll see in a little bit why we needed that inside circle, okay? All right, so we're going to cut out our form, and then we're going to trace it. We're going to open it up and trace it onto our brown paper so that we'll have our body of our owl. Okay, so we don't need that. We can toss it. It's a good place to put it, right in our scrap bucket. And now we're going to open up our owl shape. See it? See it? And put it down on our brown paper and trace it. Alrighty, are we getting this? Oh, I already had that part traced. Okay, so there is my owl tracing, and now I'm just going to cut that out. Have you seen any owls lately at home in trees or barns? I haven't seen very many. When I was younger, I used to see them quite often. But we lived in the country. You could hear them. Do you hear them at night? They're such neat animals to watch. They really are. They're so quiet when they fly. You can sneak right up on their dinner and catch it. It's really amazing. All right. So now I have the body of my owl. There it is. Now, the next thing we're going to do is make the white face. Okay, we're going to do the white face. And to do that, we go back to this. All right, so we've got our other half circle. We're going to actually just fold this in half like so, because we only need a quarter of it. And we're going to take our pencil and we're going to redraw a little part of this. We're going to give it a little peak. You see its little dent of peak there? All right, so we're going to take our pencil give it a little peek. So basically we're getting rid of a part of that. And then we're going to, we're going to shave off a little bit of this bottom. That's too much. I'm going the wrong direction. So basically you're going to start in the peak of the corner and just draw a line out. Okay, so what we're going to cut is the little arch here, and then down around, and then along this bottom line, okay? So we'll cut that out, and we're going to make another form with that. And then along that one. Okay. And it makes two of them because we cut it in half, right? But we only need one. So now we have our form. We're going to take our white paper and trace it. And then we will cut this out, okay? All right. And also, moms and dads, if you feel like this is a little complicated for your younger preschooler or your toddler at home, you're welcome to start the craft and do all the steps up to the hands, and then have them help you trace and cut the hands for their owl, if you'd like. Now I'm cutting out my white face for my owl. And then we're going to see what it looks like on. Here's my owl. Here's my white face. And do you see? I think that'll work out pretty well. All right, we're going to move on. I'm going to snip that off and keep the rest for another project. Put this in my bucket. We're going to move on to the yellow eyes. All right, and I am just going to snip it here. I'm going to fold because remember, if we cut once, we'll get two eyes. That's right. I'm just going to cut a circle. If it's too big, I can cut it smaller. And these might be, I'm very good at making them too big. And the circle doesn't have to be perfect. There's mine. Oh, it's too big. It is too big. So see how big it is on there? So we're going to cut them down just a little smaller. Put them back together. There we go. So we're going to cut them just a bit smaller. All right, there we go. There's our yellow in our eyes, and we'll move that other piece of scrap over for another project. And now we're going to do our little pupils and our nose, our beak, and our feet. So. Once again, I cut a strip. Excuse me. I'm going to cut another circle. And this one should be smaller so that it fits inside the eyes, inside the yellow eyes. And these are probably too big. They are. I'm very good at making them too big. So we'll just make them a little bit smaller. Cut it until it's small enough. That'll probably work. There we are. Move those out of the way. And let's make some feet. Again, I'm going to fold, so I only have to cut once. And I'm going to make little round feet. Yep, little round feet. See how I've done that? Little round feet. And then I'm going to cut the toes out of here. Okay. 1, 2, and 3. So there's my little feet. They'll go right there. And now let's see, what else do we have left? Oh, we have just our beak. And on the beak, I'm actually going to draw it a little bit. So the beak is like a corner of a paper and then round it. So I don't know if you can see that, but I took the corner and drew a semicircle, a quarter of a circle. All right, and there's our beak. Cut that off a little. We'll put our beak right there. All right, there's one last thing that we need to do before we can assemble our owl, and that is to trace our hands. So I have another, you can use any colors you want though. I have another brown paper. I'm going to fold it, of course. Yes, I am. And your wings will be smaller than mine because your hands are smaller than mine, and they'll look really cute. Mine are a little bit too big for this craft, although I do have small hands. All right, I'm going to trace my hand with my pencil. All right. Tickles, it's so silly. Trace, trace, trace my hand. And just round it off the bottom. And then I'm going to cut my hand out. And then, after we do the tracing and the cutting, we will be ready to glue our owl together. And then our craft will be finished, and our story time will be over too. I think today is going to be a lovely day as well. We don't have very many of those left, so I hope you get outside and play. Ride your bicycles. Jump in leaf piles. Did you go trick-or-treating last weekend? I would love to see your costumes. Some of you I saw. Some of you came by the library, which was great. It was so nice to see you in your beautiful costumes, or your superhero costumes. My twins dressed as ninjas. All right, I have cut out my hand, so I have 2 wings. And now we're ready to put together our owl. All right, so we're going to need our glue stick. We're going to move this off of there. Yeah, we are. Oh my goodness, that was difficult. All right, so we're going to apply glue to our white face. Oh God, I brought a second glue stick over. That one's pretty much done. So, put our white face down. And then our yellow eyes. Can you see me working? Little yellow eye here. And a yellow eye here. And let's put our nose on, okay? Yep, the whole nose. And now we need our black pupils. This is the easy part. Once we get everything cut, and it's just a symbol. Glue and assemble. And then we'll just put a little bit of glue at the top of the feet. Top of the feet. Then the last thing we have to glue is our wings. So we'll just put a little glue on here. Slide it under where we want it. A little glue over here. Slide it where we want it. Ta-da! We have finished our craft for today. What do you think? Little owl with your hand wings. I just think these are so cute. You could also take the time if you wish to, you see how this one has little feathers drawn? I did that with just a Sharpie. I'll show you right now how easy it is. Okay, I'll pull that back so you can see. So I've got 3 little squiggles, 3 little squiggles, 2 squiggles, 2 squiggles, a squiggle. That's it. It makes it look like you got little feathers on your owl. All right. Thank you for joining me for story time today, boys and girls. I hope that you had a very good time. I can't wait to see you again, and I'm looking forward to when we can go back to in-house story time. But until then, join me every week here. You can find this recording at our YouTube site, our website, and our Facebook page. And if you would like to show me your crafts, you can post them to our Facebook page. You can send them to me in Facebook Messenger. You can bring them to the library. Or you can email them to me at april@janadenlibrary.org. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.